keeping with our theme of the beer o'clock. It's always beer o'clock somewhere, but if we look in our beer o'clock database, there's no beer there. So in this case, we're going to take some data from a public API that has a bunch of beer recipes. And so we're going to pull in some of this JSON data and populate our database using the Exciton Boost API. Part is fairly straightforward. We just create a request, say we prefer strings. We do a get with that URL, set our authorization, and we're going to post it as new documents. And here are the new documents. There are 25 of them. If we look in there, it's got titles, taglines, and descriptions. The pairs well with and brewer's tips fields are missing, so I'll have to check on that. Let's look at the properties and see what got pulled in. We don't control this API, so it's got a whole lot of fields that we don't really care about. There are the brewer's tips. Okay, if we look down there, there's food pairing, so we know that they're there, and a bunch of other fields. So let's switch over to our form and look at which ones we put in. We put in name and tagline, description, pairing, and tips. Well, let's just pull in those fields plus the ID, because that's how you identify the document. And we do that by setting a header field before we do our post, which is called XItemsList. And then we'll just say name and ID, description, food pairing, brewer's tips, and tagline. That should be all the fields we need. So let's delete all the documents, try over again. If we look in the document properties, we see that there are only those fields that were created plus some system fields. If we go back in, we're still not going to see our pairs well and brewer's tips because they have different names in the JSON than they do on our form, because you don't always control what field names are on the form. So let's just do an alias thing, which will then save those items from the JSON as with different field names. Run our agent and go in and check. And now they're called pairing and tips correctly. So if we look into our document, we'll see that we have the pairs well with and our brewer's tips. This is important to note, just that when you have a database, it's not always a brand new database. You don't always control it. You don't always control the API on the other side. So this allows your REST API to do a fairly basic pull from another database, but still change the names as you need. Thank you.